radio listeners, you are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I'm Kenny Horn.
And I'm Kyle Pepitone, and you're now tuned in to the Morning Buzz.
Well, kinda.
Every Friday during the summer, we're going to give you a compilation show of the Morning Buzz over the course of the last week.
We have it all, everything from the pressing news stories all the way to the weird and funny news that will be sure to give you a good laugh.
We will even replay interviews that aired, so you have another chance to listen in.
We'll even be posting this show to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
So go ahead and treat yourself. Sit back, relax, and grab that extra donut, and listen to the best of the Morning Buzz.
Donuts.
Good morning, Morning Buzz listeners. This is your news contributor Ryan Breda with a special news update. Today, Governor Phil Murphy plans to announce his goal of vaccinating 4.7 million New Jerseyans has been reached 2 weeks early. The governor, alongside the New Jersey Commissioner of Health Judy Persichilli, will be at the University Hospital, the site of New Jersey's first vaccination, at 12 p.m. today to announce the milestone. University Hospital President and CEO Sharif El-Nahal will also be in attendance to witness the announcement made by the governor. The governor's press conference will be streamed on his YouTube channel, Twitter, and Facebook as New Jersey continues to get vaccinated to have a safe and historic summer. Reporting for WMSC 90.3, this is Ryan Breda.
It's literally like out of this, well, not literally out of this world, but speaking of something that is literally out of this world, Patrina.
That was good. Okay. $28 million is winning bid for seat aboard Blue Origin's first human space flight. $28 million is the winning bid for a seat aboard by a civilian in the New Shepard when Jeff Bezos' space tourism venture, Blue Origin, flies people to space for the first time next month. On Saturday, the live auction lasted under 10 minutes, opening at $4.9 million, with over 20 bidders calling in. Saturday's live auction follows 5 weeks of online bidding, according to Blue Origin. By the time registration closed Thursday for the live auction, nearly 7,600 people from 159 countries registered to bid for a seat aboard the flight on June 20th. Pre-auction bidding ended up at $4.8 million. Ahead of the auction, Ariane Cornell, Blue Origin's director of astronaut and orbital sales, said, quote, "The name of the winners won't be announced immediately because the company needs to complete some final paperwork with them." Mark and Jeff Bezos will be on the flight as well, which was announced by the company earlier this week. The fourth and final crew member will be announced after the winner. This is the opportunity to fly above the Kármán line, the intentionally recognized line of space at over 300,000 feet or 62 miles, which presents a new market opportunity in space tourism, the company said. With only 569 people have ever been over the Kármán line, according to Cornell. The experience will last for 11 minutes, and the astronauts will be able to unbuckle their seatbelts and float in zero gravity for about 3 minutes. What do you guys think about this?
Okay, so first, when I was first reading the story, I thought they are going to space, but I thought they were talking like a trip to space, like several weeks, landing on some foreign, not planet, or like the moon or something. Like they were going for a while. And so I'll admit I was a little disappointed when I learned it was only an 11-minute trip, but still, it's crazy to think about.
Oh, yeah, right. Like you said, I honestly thought it was like, oh, they're going to space for maybe like a week, a day, a few days, whatever. Exactly. But 11 minutes. I mean, honestly, I'm not as surprised. I mean, it is like, I don't know. I feel like it's not like, obviously it's not every day that somebody can get this opportunity, but it's just so much money for 11 minutes.
I mean, yes, it would. If you are the winner, it's probably going to be the coolest thing in the world when you go in a little bit over a month. So what did you say? It was July 20th, correct?
Yeah.
Is the flight. So I don't know how I would feel doing that. I'm sure the initial anxiety from it is probably overwhelming. You're literally going to above what everybody recognizes as pretty much the end of the Earth and the start of space, where there is no oxygen. I could not wrap my head around doing something like that.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be really cool. I just wouldn't spend that much money on it, especially for that short of the time.
Oh, well, obviously, yes.
Yeah,
I don't even have that kind of money to spend.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's
I don't think I have half. Half of the half.
Oh my god. But I don't know. I just think it is pretty cool how like somebody is able to experience that, somebody with that money. But I mean, it is something that's a good opportunity for people.
It's always it's always the 1% who has opportunities that, you know, regular casual people like myself don't get an opportunity to. But I will agree with you, Pacino, that I think it's super cool because obviously right now we're, I think, very focused on the amount of money and for just 11 minutes because quite frankly it is an absurd amount of money. But if you have double of that amount of money and you are just looking to what you want to spend it, this is definitely worth it. And I say this because again, not every day any normal person gets to just get up on, you know.
Yes, but I don't know if we can say it's worth it having no experience with it. We could say we would think it's worth it, but like, okay, let's be honest here. I mean, I can't imagine this not being not cool. Is that grammatically correct?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Like, I feel like you would, like, as of right now, if you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, that's a really cool experience. Like, I would so do that. But then again, like, what if you get on and you're just like, what? This isn't like anything I expected, and it's like more lame than what you would have thought.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it does have the potential to be over hyped per se. Like, oh my goodness, you're going to space. But then you get up there and like it said, it's an 11-minute trip. You only get to float in zero gravity for about 3 minutes, which I'm sure for a normal person, like anybody who spend 20 plus years on the ground would be more than enough time to do somersaults or whatnot. But it does have that potential to be like, oh, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be.
Kyle, don't say that, Kyle.
I'm sorry, I'm a Debbie Downer.
Yes, I see that. I see that, Kyle. But no, because I said it would be a great experience because, well, at least for me, let me speak for myself. I think, of course, I've never been, so I wouldn't know. Kyle's very right on that. He's speaking facts. But I will say that for me, at least every single time I try new things, it's about like the experience for me, like the build up, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Like it's the whole experience for me, which is why I thought it was. I said it was pretty cool because according to the article, there was how many 20 bidders calling in. So that one person got it instead of those other 19 people. Yes, I can't afford it, but those other 19 people could. They just, you know, they capped out where they were willing to bid for it. But, you know, like I'm sure they were just as intrigued, just as excited to go on this. So Kyle, I know you're a Debbie Downer over there. But...
I'm sorry. But no, but I think this is very interesting. I think this particular thing, this first, what was it? It was the first flight. Yes, the first human space flight from Blue Origin. I think this is a stepping stone into bigger things. I think in the future now, we could have the potential to see more of this on a grander scale. Because this is only 4 people going up in this particular trip. Jeff Bezos, his brother Mark, undisclosed winner number 1, and undisclosed 4th crewmate. So it's a very good starting point if that's what their plan is, to like, okay, this is what we can do. How do we make it bigger and better and encompass more people? Because like it's a very short flight and I'm sure it's very, very costly to do anything, even an 11-minute flight probably costs more money bigger than a number that I can actually count to. But I think this is a stepping stone. I think they're trying this out, seeing like, okay, this is where our technology is. This is how many people we can account for. This is what we can do with what we have. Let's develop that further. And I think in the coming years, we can see, Blue Origin's second human spaceflight can accommodate 8 people this time, and then 16, and then 32, and then 64, and then 128. You get the point.
Right. No, yeah, but like that's a good point. I'm sure they're like testing it out, and I'm sure like maybe in the future they'll be able to have people last longer. Maybe there's a reason why they only have it for such a short amount of time for like safety precautions, whatever. But like Crystal said, like the experience, you're right. Like the experience is like so thrilling. Like being able, I bet even like calling in to bid is like an experience, you know.
Yeah.
And then winning it, and then all of that, like building up to like that moment to when you get to get on it, and then you're going up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even though the flight's the same amount of time as like my breaks at work, I mean, it's work. I'm sure it's a great experience.
Yeah. And like, I think a main, and this is all I'm going to say on this is the last thing I'm going to say on this, but I think the main reason it's so short is because not just anybody can go into space just like that. From what I remember or understand, there's very rigorous training you need to go through to like stay in space. So like if they took this trip for like we said, like a week or a couple of days, you would have to go through a very rigorous training process from what I understand before you can do something like that.
Sure.
Because think about it, you're in an enclosed space in just nothingness for an extended period of time, that you would need something to prepare yourself for that.
Kyle, let the rich live rich, okay?
I'm just saying. And I have to ask you, do you guys remember that scene in Finding Nemo where Marlin and Dory are swallowed by the whale?
Barely. Barely.
Barely. That's like the
Barely.
one scene from the movie I remember. That was like my favorite scene as a kid. But
Your favorite.
could you imagine that happening to you in real life?
Nope. Absolutely not.
Well, not to you specifically, but it has this past week. Michael Packard, a 56-year-old lobster diver, found himself in the mouth of a humpback whale off of Provincetown, Massachusetts. Packard said he was diving about 45 feet or 14 meters deep when he felt something bump into him before everything went dark. Initially, he thought he was the victim of a shark attack, but then said, quote, "Then I realized, oh my, I'm in a whale's mouth, and he's trying to swallow me. And I thought to myself, okay, this is it. I'm going to die," end quote. However, it wasn't too long before the whale surfaced and spat out the diver, who was rescued by one of his crewmates roughly 30 seconds after this whole thing took place. Whale expert Charles Mayo said that these kind of interactions are rare, as humpback whales are typically non-aggressive. He states that this was most likely an accident while the whale was feeding on fish. So, first off, good for the whale for admitting his mistake and spitting out the diver. But on the other hand, oh my, forget going to space. This is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard.
I agree. Patrine, I think you're on mute. But I agree because I'm so happy he had a crew with him, because had it not been for the crew, he would have been in there, and I cannot even imagine dying like that. I can't even.
No, yeah. Well, luckily the whale spat him out to begin with, so like it was like 30 seconds between being swallowed and being spat out, and he was just picked up by his crew. So yes, the crew definitely did help, but I don't think, from what I read from the story, I don't think the crew actually got him out of the whale physically.
I think
Sorry.
like the
Go ahead.
What were you
Sorry.
No, what were you saying, Kyle?
No, I was saying go ahead. I kept interrupting you though.
All good. But I just can't imagine the emotions he felt in those 30 seconds, like thinking thinking you're gonna die, and like, where are you, and like, how is this happening? And all of a sudden you get spit back out, and then here you are, you're back and you're alive, and you're like, what the heck was that?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy. And it's even scarier because I am going to Cape Cod this summer. And that's exactly where it happened, right in that area.
Massachusetts,
so okay.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, Provincetown. Yeah, I'm going somewhere over there. But even so, that's very scary.
I think you'll be fine as long as you stay at like 44 feet deep. You'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
If you go 45, that's when trouble starts coming.
Right. Okay, I'll make sure when I go diving.
I mean, just overall, I'm okay. So when our general manager Annabella sent this to us, and she said, "Hey, you guys should cover this tomorrow." And I'm like, "Okay, let me check it out." And then I read, "Diver swallowed by whale and then spat back out." I'm like, I need a moment to process this, because I'm one of those people who like put themselves in other shoes a lot, or like throw myself into the most unlikely of scenarios. And this, along with the plane crash we talked about, like that emergency landing that guy had to make either a week ago or 2 weeks ago, there's a lot of these instances that 20 years of life have never prepared me to react for. How am I supposed to react, if 30 seconds or not, being in the stomach of a whale?
I would have started freaking out.
Yeah,
Freaking
it's
out.
probably a good or natural response most people would have.
Yeah, I can't. No, I really just can't picture like just diving. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I'm in a whale. Like that's just so crazy. And like I'm the same as you, Kyle. Like I'm somebody who pictures myself in somebody else's shoes, and so it's like thinking about it. I'm like, oh my god, that's freaky. Like it's just. Yeah.
And just for reference, a humpback whale can range anywhere from 43 feet to 52 feet in length.
Jeez.
Yeah. And the diver said he had about 20 feet of visibility, maybe. So you don't even have any time to react to, like, regardless if it was coming up from behind him or coming from in front of him, you have no time to react. Yeah. Go ahead.
How would you even react? Sorry. I was going to say, how do you even react in that situation? Like if you're in the whale's mouth and you're like there and it's like, what do I do now? What do I do now? Like, do I sit here? Do I start trying to find a way out? Like,
exactly.
It's just, who knows? Like, you don't know what to do.
Right.
Probably smelled in there too. Ugh.
Oh, great. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't try sniffing underwater, but I mean.
Yeah, he kept breathing because he still had his breathing apparatus attached. But what are your options at that point? Like, what do you think? Like, what could you possibly think to do? Like, there's nothing around you that you can use to escape. It's literally a mouth of a whale. You have teeth and a tongue, maybe. I don't know the anatomy of a whale, but I figure there's not something very useful. There's no escape hatch in the belly of a whale.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. And
as my mother always says, never trust the water and never trust anything it's in the water. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to my PSA.
Yeah, no, the ocean is probably the scariest place. We know nothing about it. And I was just thinking about this. I don't care what animal it is. If you've got 20 feet of visibility at the most, and you see anything coming towards you, I'm out.
Go the other way.
Yeah.
Go the other way.
The other way or side to side, maybe. Just, I don't know. I would panic. I would panic.
Oh, yeah. Like most of us would, I'm assuming. But, like, I don't know. The ocean's just scary. Like, we were talking about space earlier. And, we know more, like, as we know now, we know more about space than we do about the ocean. So it's just, that's crazy to think about because we know more about something that's not on this planet more than something that isn't or is. Or whatever I said.
Yeah, there's two realms of just vast emptiness that we know of: the ocean and space. And we're just here in the middle ground, just like, hey, we got birds and stuff. Who knows what's down there? Who knows what's up there? It's too much for me to think about.
Right. But aside from this being so shocking, I think I'm impressed, that he survived. He survived. So I just think, like, wow, he's some lucky diver because
Yeah.
I don't think everybody that I don't think this is the first time that it's happened. Maybe, but I don't think so. But it's probably the first time. And I don't know this with certainty, but maybe it's like the first time where someone can, talk about their experience,
Yeah.
which is mind blowing.
And he came out relatively unharmed too. He said he only had like bruised or broken legs. I forget specifically what it was, but to not only survive that, but to come out in pretty decent shape is nothing short of a miracle. And I should preface, because I was also reading about this same man also survived a plane crash about 20 years ago in November of 2001. So, I mean, this man is like the luckiest man alive right now. I would buy a lotto ticket if I was him.
Yeah, he's made of steel. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
Right. You know that I think I said this last time, but there was this like I think it was like a meme or like a TikTok video that was talking about how if you've gone through the whole pandemic and have not had COVID, you were one of God's favorite. Like that's what they were claiming, and it was like it went viral because it was funny,
Right.
and it was basically worded like, "How does it feel to be God's favorite?" So, and throughout this whole story, I have just been thinking like, yeah, Michael Parkin, what does it feel to be one of God's favorites? And
Yeah.
I think it's like funny, like I know whatever your religious beliefs may be, but I just think it was funny because it's like it's amazing that he made it out and he survived this, and now you're telling me 20 years ago he was in a plane crash. That man is lucky.
Yeah. And the worst thing that happened to me today is I got stuck in the rain.
Yeah.
You clearly don't have your
Nah.
issues, right, Kyle?
No, I don't. I should go diving. Make my problems worse.
Speaking of good stories, in Randolph, New Jersey, which is actually the town I am living in right now, and they're talking about my school district that I was in for, basically all my life until I came to Montclair State. So in Randolph, New Jersey, the Randolph Board of Education has decided to erase all holiday names from the school calendars. Instead of saying the holiday name, it now says day off with no description underneath it. This decision has led to much criticism. As a result of this, more than 2,500 individuals have signed a petition calling the Randolph Board of Education to resign. The online petition reads, start quote, Superintendent Jen Fano and all of the Board of Education members have disgraced our community and clearly do not have the best interests of our children in anything they do. End quote. The Board of Education responded saying, start quote, nothing could be further from the truth. These state, federal, and other holidays have not been canceled or taken away by this Board of Education, as some are falsely claiming. Schools will still be closed on the days that we originally approved, and our children will know why. End quote. Thursday's vote took place during an in-person board meeting weeks after the board changed Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day on the school calendar. Some parents said the vote was taken without public input and was insulting to Italian Americans and their contributions to the country. So I know that was a lot, guys, but this has been going on in my town for like the past like month or two. It started with this debate because some people wanted to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, and since there was so much controversy because of this, they decided to just erase all the names of the holidays from the school calendar and instead just put day off. What do you guys think about this?
Ooh, I have so much to say about that. Like in one of my classes, we were talking about something similar to this, the changing of Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And it was a really intense conversation because our professor was saying that there was that some people, especially that there was a situation where Italian Americans apparently they felt they were being insulted because of this. And I thought that, that's messed up. On my end, I'm insulted by Columbus Day. So I found it funny, like growing up, how people never focused on what Christopher Columbus did. Like, sure, he founded certain places and stuff, but what he did to the people in those places to get there was not okay. And people celebrate this. And I find it really awesome that it's changed to Indigenous Peoples Day. I feel like we need all the facts in history, and American schools don't often give it to us. Why can't we know the whole story? We can know about where he came from and, dwell more into his country and stuff, but also focus on the things that he did that were not okay. So I feel like it's best to put the names of the holidays and explain everything, bad or good, we need to know.
Dashi, on that, I would have to completely agree with you because I feel that just saying days off, it really limits, especially young children. They're like, oh, why is this a holiday? Like, why do we have a day off? Why don't we go to school? Like, people should explain this like multicultural like lifestyle that other people are living or other people are celebrating on that day. Like, why censor it? Because I feel that censorship also, in my opinion, in this case, brings lack of knowledge and lack of information. If kids think that like, oh, it's a day off, they might not even question it, and they could grow up just not knowing. Just like with what you said, Dashi, about Columbus Day, that people just didn't think about it, people didn't know about it, and people should be informed. Because when people aren't informed, this could just produce, I would say, this unconscious racism, this unconscious like I would say biasness for like, oh, days off. Like some kids might think, oh, Christopher Columbus Day, like it's a fun day and it's something to celebrate, while in fact, no, it was something horrific. It was a very bad event now when we look at it. So I feel that it's important to say, why do we celebrate certain holidays? And I feel that teachers should indeed invest in telling their students, or schools should invest in saying like, oh yeah, this is for this and this holiday. So kids, I would say, have this global understanding of what's going on. Because when people don't know what's going on, when they're blind, like that's when these like unconscious negative things form. This is why, in my opinion, why later on we have these movements like against Asian hate or Black Lives Matter, or we have people who are racist because they're just unaware, they're just uninformed.
Okay.
Yep, it causes insensitivity and ignorance from people in the community and environment. It's really sad that we're just cultivating it more like, oh, it's fine, let's just keep encouraging this. So I am for everybody that's voting, like, for it to not, happen, because that's so sad.
Just to specify, they never said that they weren't going to teach about it in school. They said the opposite, that they would continue to teach about the holidays in school. Just on the calendar itself, it's going to say day off to avoid any controversy. And if I'm being completely honest, I hate to go against you guys, but I think this, obviously, my first, like, I wish they would have just changed Christopher Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, because I personally think that Christopher Columbus is not a good guy, and I'm literally reading an article as we speak about all the terrible things he did, and I'm like, wow, like, this is so messed up that we celebrate this man, despite all the terrible things he's done. However, since they didn't do that, I don't think it's a huge deal, if I'm being completely honest, to change it to day off on the school calendar. It's not like they are erasing all of the national holidays from the national calendar that we use, and they're still teaching about it in school. I feel like this is just a story that has really been blown out of proportion, if I'm being completely honest, because at the end of the day, we're still going to celebrate these holidays. We're still going to learn about them. Children will still be informed. It's just now, instead of looking at the calendar and saying like, oh, like we have off for, Christopher Columbus Day. It's now we have off for, however we want to interpret it as, like Indigenous Peoples Day or Italian American Day or, Christopher Columbus Day. And I think that's okay.
I would agree with you on the Christopher Columbus idea, because I completely agree that it was wrong to celebrate it for that reason, that like, oh, Christopher Columbus found America, when in fact it was something negative that he did, like he killed many native people who lived there. And I feel that I would agree with that. I'm happy that they would keep national holidays, because that makes sense. I feel I had a connotation that, oh, this means that all holidays, well, it seems like all holidays will be erased, but I feel still having like a little remembrance that's maybe appropriate, or just renaming the holiday on the calendar, like just to say what it's called, like why we're celebrating it, just kind of gives context. Why is there a day off? I just feel it would make sense to at least inform the public and make it, I would say, just change the names to a more appropriate name, like maybe as voted by the township or as voted by the people, what they feel is correct.
I feel like it's very messed up, the fact that okay, it was called Columbus Day for years. I don't know how many years, but it was years. And it's a little messed up how now that they're calling it Indigenous Peoples Day, most people are mad about it. I feel like it just shows how close-minded some people can be in terms of um understanding why it's called that. I feel like there's a difference between realizing or just being not being insensitive. That's it. Like, realize that there's other people in your community as well, not just your culture or you, but there's other people, and I feel like it's okay to leave the names simply because it just represents that we're not alone. There are people that come from different places around the world and different cultures, like Martin Luther King Day. That's another one. Like, you're telling me you're not going to have that up there. Do you get me? So I don't know. I feel like that signifies what I believe is being an American, like different cultures coming together and just striving for the best. So I would appreciate it if they would just keep the names everywhere and not give people a vote, because they should realize that there's other people around them, and we should be more educated in regards to that.
And the crazy thing is that, Randolph is not the first school to erase the holiday names from their calendars. Other districts have done this as well. This one just really, the whole story kind of got like out of hand per se, because now so many people are getting very angry about it. So this is not the first school to do this, but I do find it pretty crazy. I mean, once again, I wish they just changed the name of Christopher Columbus Day and then left it at that, but people always have an opinion. So
So Shelby Houlihan was an Olympian. She's an American track record holder, and she was just given a 4-year ban from the Olympics. She failed a steroid test, and do you want to know why she says why? A tainted pork burrito.
That's actually happened before in sports, though. Like,
no, I refuse, Francis.
No, that's too crazy. Like, I read it and like a pork burrito.
No, because that's what happened with Canelo Alvarez. He tested positive for PEDs, and then there's certain meats within the Mexican food industry that have banned supplements or a certain amount of steroids in them. So then him and his manager were saying that that's like the reason he tested positive was because he was eating those meats.
No,
and he had that meat in his system. Now they weren't able to really prove whether or not, okay, did he actually take these steroids, or was it because of the meat, or because of both? But because of that, like, arbitrary ruling, they decided to give him a lighter suspension than they normally would have in boxing.
No, I refuse. Francis. I refuse.
I just gave you an example of a sports star testing positive because of what they ate.
No, it's not. That's not true. This is a lie. I refuse to believe this. So
I'm not saying
said,
it's true. I'm just saying that's happened before, of like people saying, okay, well, it's because of what I ate.
Okay. Well, she wrote a long message about this on Instagram on Monday. She said she'd received a letter from the Athletics Integrity Unit on January 14th informing her of the disciplinary action. She said that she provided the drug sample on December 14th, and it came back positive for the steroid called nandrolone. That's a fun word, nandrolone. I'm surprised that's not a most misspelled word. She said, but she also said that she compiled a food log to determine what she ate before her test. And, quote, we concluded that the most likely explanation was a burrito purchased and consumed approximately 10 hours before that drug test from an authentic Mexican food restaurant that serves pig offal near my house in Beaverton, Oregon.
Literally the same reason.
So
because of the certain beef that they have within Mexico that's like within their standards of food, like they found trace elements of those steroids in the beef.
I refuse to believe.
So basically in form of like biology, like basically biologically, a pig has some lingering elements of those steroids.
Well, we all
basically?
have steroids in us. It's
Supposedly.
like
The lesson
how much
here is
we
if you're a
put those
professional
out.
athlete. So the lesson here is if you're a professional athlete, don't consume Mexican food until your career's over.
Well, it's more so a certain Mexican meat, but yeah.
But yeah, you were saying something, Francis, because I really don't like, just in layman's terms, like what you said before, like we all have steroids in our body biologically, right?
Yeah, no, we all like testosterone is a steroid. We all have steroids in our body. It's certain steroids that are altered or specific steroids that are then taken from someone else's body or studied through science, specifically usually from animals that are then tested in the scientific field to see, okay, how can they benefit, people? And the vast majority of time people are given steroids, it's through their doctor for an injury or a medical condition that they have. And even athletes are legally allowed to use them when they get injured or if they have certain medical conditions. They're allowed to, and they're giving a pass by the drug testing system, but other times they aren't. But that's essentially how steroids are used. And specifically with animals as well, they give, especially animals that they're breeding or making for food, they often give them steroids to make their muscles and body bigger so they can produce more food. So that's why you see a lot of specific animals, they wind up having trace elements, specifically in certain countries like Mexico, where they have different standards of food than the US, have found steroids within their system. That's even been found in, like, I don't know the specific steroid, but there's like trace elements of certain steroids even in US food that's been found.
I would like to mention that, okay, let's entertain this, even though I completely think this is a lie. Let's entertain this, okay?
Yeah.
Canelo
Imagine
Alvarez
the
and her,
fact-
hypothetically, they're telling the truth. So
Yeah, hypothetically, why she actually failed her steroid test is because she ate a burrito. Hypothetically, or supposedly, according to her, how would you react if you found out that you're a record-holding Olympian? How would you react if you found out that you ate a burrito and now you can't do what you want to do for 4 years?
Well, I would be pretty upset because
Well, yeah, that's pretty safe to say. There.
because again, I looked her up. She's like 28, and the typical Olympian only lasts until like 30s, maybe 40s. So she's losing that one Olympic cycle because of this. So
Yeah, this is the greatest. If this is a lie, which I think it is the greatest steroid lie ever told because it's so relatable. Everybody eats burritos, or not everybody, but most people, I should say.
I'm really excited for the Olympics next week because I like to watch like swimming and figure skating. How about you, Kenny?
That's my answer.
Kenny, just imagine if during the 2000s steroid thing, imagine if Roger Clemens or somebody like that said, "Yeah, I just ate a burrito. That's why I have that."
Exactly.
Yes, right?
This is just
like that to me is like what I'm thinking is like, I know what you're trying to say now because you're like, imagine if Roger Clemens said, "Yeah, I was just eating a burrito and that's why I have steroids in my system."
I would like to end the show on my favorite segment every time that I am on the board. This is, what is that sound? This is when I get to test out a random sound on the audio board and find out what it does. I'm going to go for, I'm going to go for whatever this one is. This says Naruto bad situation.
Back-to-back weeks of playing Naruto.
Okay, that really wasn't that fun. If it makes you feel any better, Francis, this is the one I did the last time I was on the board. I think that one's hilarious.
So next up, now that Florida Man has been addressed, because you always got to address Florida Man. Florida Man is like you have to have respect for it. It's like a cryptid. Like you see it, you acknowledge it, you move on. Florida Man, we see you, we acknowledge you, we move on. The next story is something I heard this headline when you read it to me, Isaiah, and if you hear that snapping noise, by the way, that's my mask hitting the pop filter. I'm sorry. I'm not. That's fully on me. It's a little ASMR for you, first thing in the morning. I know that's what you want. But this story was like, is like something out of like a storybook or something. This is from Providence, Rhode Island, from apnews.com. Message in a bottle travels across the Atlantic Ocean. Apparently, a Portuguese teenager has received a message in a bottle that traveled at least 2,400 miles from a Vermont teenager. Christian Santos, 17, was spearfishing in the Azores when spearfishing. I mean, I wish I was spearfishing.
Isn't that the best detail of the story? I feel is that he's just spearfishing. He's not just fishing or swimming.
He was hanging out, stabbing fish, catching them with lightning reflexes. I mean, at 17, I was like trying to not be dead. Like I was, it was a very different
Minecraft
story.
Or something at 17.
Right,
I was just spearfishing.
It's a very different story for me at 17. But anyway,
I was graduating high school at 17. That was just 2 years ago for me.
Ooh, congratulations on graduating.
Oh, thank you.
I'm proud of you, Cam.
That's nice. But this man was spearfishing and found a crumpled plastic bottle that was tossed into the sea near Rhode Island in 2018. Santos's mother, Molly, posted a photo of the note on Facebook, asking for others to share the post in hopes of finding the writer. The note inside of a Powerade bottle. A Powerade bottle? A Powerade bottle? Hang on.
Gatorade.
Hold up. Exactly. Stop. Up until this point, I was imagining, like, you know, in the stories where it's like a glass bottle with like a cork or like something. It's a power. Yeah, exactly.
Basically this was in the Powerade style. Basically,
it's a Powerade bottle. That is the trashiest thing. Like, that's not like, I wouldn't have touched that. I would have just like put it in a garbage. Like, that's litter. And like the fact that they happen to take the chance to open this. But anyway,
I have a serious question.
Surprised a plastic bottle lasted that long in the ocean.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like,
that's good material.
Stuff lasts forever, man. What were you saying, Cam?
That was actually my question. How did that last for almost 3 years?
And without like even cracking.
Yeah, like how's that possible?
I don't know, man. That's plastic that stuff sticks around.
No,
but the note on the inside was written in orange marker and it read on a note card, and it read, "It is Thanksgiving. I am 13 and visiting family in Rhode Island. I am from Vermont," with an email address.
And that, kids, is How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, exactly. Like, first off, like, how terrible of a day do you have to be having where the only thing you could think to do is like, you know what? I'm just going to launch a Powerade bottle with my hopes and dreams into the ocean.
It's been a rough Thanksgiving.
I've had those Thanksgivings, man. I've never launched a Powerade bottle into the ocean because I've never had the chance, but I've had holidays like that. You know what? I take it back. I can see that very clearly.
It was a very long day for that kid.
It's a long day. Maybe his family is just like garbage and he's just like, I have nothing else to do. Just but the note inside says that, and it's got an email address. Molly Santos, mother to, and I'm gonna say this again, spearfisher Christian Santos, sent an email to the address but never received a response.
Sad.
To be honest, though, she probably didn't expect anything because it's been 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But still, hey.
You know what's interesting, though, is that the kid that received the note and the person that sent it are probably around the same age right now. Yeah. So maybe this could be a start of a great relationship if they
maybe
ever respond
it is How
to
I
that
Met
email.
Your Mother.
It could be. I hope it is. A nice, heartwarming story.
What flavor Powerade do you think it was? Sorry, Cam, what were you saying?
That'll be nice if it was. By the way, favorite flavor Powerade?
Fruit punch?
I'm trying to think now.
I just go by the colors. I don't think they have flavor names.
It goes by It goes by flavor. Do not say color.
It's gotta be color.
No.
Okay, there's no way you have that Gatorade bottle and you're saying the flavor on it.
Glacier Freeze? Yes.
Oh my, that's light blue. That is light
This
blue.
is the only way you call it by color because orange.
That's orange.
Yeah, because orange. It's a flavor. Come on now. We're not capable.
It's both. It's both.
Exactly.
No, I don't buy that.
Glacier-
I've never. Okay, Doritos. Do you call it by the name of the flavor as well?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I just call it purple bag. Or red bag.
I just call it blue bag Doritos or red bag.
Ali gets it. Ali
It's a lot
gets
easier to remember.
It
Y'all are
is.
y'all are menaces to
You're really
society.
saying
Cam,
spicy
I don't know how to
chili
deal
nacho?
with this.
Yo,
I've
y'all
never
are
referred to a Dorito by the color of the bag ever.
Never. Y'all are some menaces to society.
I
This
can't
is-
trust half of
that's
my
a new
screen
one.
right now. This is crazy.
What about, do you do that with all chips or just like Doritos? Do you do like with Pringles where it's just like, do you just say
First,
like
hold
green?
on. We're not going to consider Pringles a chip because those are disgusting. Those should be stomped on.
Cam, okay, Cam and I are now breaking off to do a separate morning buzz show. We're not going to associate with people who say that Pringles are
Whatever.
not chips.
Pringles are terrible.
Pringles are the only chip company that will give you like a decent amount of chips.
Exactly. Come on
They
now.
fill the container to the top.
You know,
Exactly.
There might be a problem though. I'm not the biggest chip person though, so maybe
Okay,
that's
so
why.
so yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but hot
But-
Cheetos though? Do you guys like hot Cheetos? No.
Just because you said enough.
You know what? I hope somewhere Christian Santos is listening to this. Christian Santos, if you end up hearing this, because listen, technically recordings from
Okay, Kenny,
Eddie.
I'm not gonna take any
Eddie.
words from you.
we're gonna steamroll right over
If
what
you,
our
if you don't
producers
have a
put in the
camera
chat.
at all, you don't deserve to talk, Kenny. You know
Kenny
your
will
role,
jump in. Kenny is in charge
producer.
of this call. First of all, second, there has been recordings from WMSC played all over the world. Right when we do the college radio day stuff, our stuff goes all over the place. We've been played in Italy, all types of places. WMSC has been played. We know that for a fact to be true. Right, Christian Santos. If you hear this, WMSCradio.com would love to talk to you about this and spearfishing because I've never been spearfishing. Also, anonymous person who says that who launched a Powerade bottle with a dream into the ocean. You too. Oh, if you're not old enough, get your parents. Whatever. They probably are old enough now, right? Oh no, they're not.
Not 3 years. Yeah, they won't be.
Okay, whatever.
they might be.
Get a permission slip. Send it to field trip. Whatever. We want to hear that. We want to hear this. I want to hear how this went down, and I want to hear. I want details. Also, I want to go spearfishing. Let's just move through. Isaiah, so what we got for the next story?
Well, we're gonna stay in our wonderful state of New Jersey, where a man admits he faked his own disappearance, prompting a 2-day Coast Guard search. So, in Atlantic County, a man has admitted he faked his own disappearance to avoid prosecution on bank theft charges, authorities have said. Andrew Biddle, 51, of Egg Harbor Township, pleaded guilty on Wednesday in a U.S. District Court in Camden to sending false distress signals to U.S. Coast Guard and submitted fraudulent information on a loan application. Acting U.S. Attorney Rachel A. Huang said in a statement, to avoid prosecution on the charges, Biddle and an unnamed passenger took a boat out to Seaville Marina in Northfield in Atlantic County. I've heard of all these. I've never heard of any of these places in New Jersey. He was later picked up by another person at the marina and driven out of the area. He admitted the Coast Guard was searching for him. He was in Florida. Nice.
Oh, of course.
I'm glad we can circle back to Florida, you know, because this seems like a Florida kind of story.
It really does sound like a Florida kind of story.
Several months after a fake disappearance, he turned himself in. Really? He turned himself in February. So yeah, that's the story. That's kind of disappointing he turned himself in though. I'm sad about that one.
If you were gone for that long,
commit to the bit.
I know, you have to commit. You can't just say, I'm over it. Like, this is the person you are.
No, but like he did that to avoid bank theft.
Yeah.
First of all, respect to that, because that's kind of. I'm not promoting any crime, but like that's like to be able.
If you're gonna commit a crime, go for the bank.
WMSC does not support any type of.
I retract my statement.
Theft.
We're just here to just make a joke. But like that's that idea about if you're gonna he robbed the bank and it's like, you know what? Hey man, I had too much money. I'm
out.
I'm turning myself in. What?
I lived a great life.
Well, no, he said that he admitted it to avoid prosecution, which means somebody was onto him.
True.
It means the scheme fell through.
he
He's
has
like,
no, but he has the money to buy a new identity. So like,
I think he just gave up too fast. He could have
definitely
left
did.
Florida. He could have gone to Mexico.
If he got over that border, never
Yeah,
again.
he would have been clear.
let's see from again.
Could have won the whole game.
That's
Exactly.
crazy. But like, it's just like, it sounds like a game of Clue or something. Like,
Honestly,
guy took his boat out and then had a friend meet him out there, and then like did the
Yep.
switch and then called the Coast Guard. That's committed. But like, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna commit to the bit, commit to the bit. Don't go to Florida. Go to Mexico. Go to Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again,
You can't be
WMSC does not
90% in.
condone any type of criminal activity. Some of you need to be told that. The same people that are mad about Columbus Day need to get told that WMSC does not condone any criminal activity. But this is just wild. He's 51. Like, he's parent aged.
He's too old for this, man.
Like, this is not like
If you're gonna do this, you're gonna do it when at maximum
Midlife-
26.
listen, it's a midlife crisis, though. He's having a midlife crisis. He wants,
oh my
wants
God.
that. He wants that thrill. He
He
really just wants that
does.
thrill.
Do you ever just have a midlife crisis and decide to rob a bank and disappear?
Well, I mean, I hope I'm not my midlife.
Some people. I know somebody's dad bought a Mustang. Some people, their dads do whatever. This guy, casually robbed a bank and then dipped to the middle of the ocean. Like, this is insane. It's always Atlantic City. That's the type of thing that happens in Atlantic City. That's
No, it really is.
That's so on brand.
Like the Florida of New Jersey, I feel like.
It really is.
Yeah.
Jersey,
It really is. You know
Put
why?
that on a t-shirt.
You know why?
Even with the, it's got the Trump Hotel. Florida
all the
has
gold
actual Trump.
all your all the elderly people that are in Atlantic City on the casinos, you know that.
Do better. Dude, just do better.
Andrew Biddle.
Doesn't that name kind of sound like he would do that too?
That name sounds like a middle school teacher.
It does.
Andrew Biddle? Mr. B?
Biddle. Mr. Biddle.
Like your English teacher, your middle school English teacher.
Yeah. Exactly.
My English teacher in middle school was a woman.
Same here, actually.
Yeah.
Actually,
I feel like all my English teachers were actually women. I don't think I had a single man.
all but one were women.
Same here. But that's Professor Biddle decided to. Can you imagine like saying that on like the PA in the morning? Like, Professor Biddle will not be here today. He decided to rob a bank and then commit insurance fraud and disappear in the middle of the ocean. Today at lunch we have turkey sandwich.
Professor Biddle, please report to the North Main office. Professor Biddle to the North Main office.
Professor Biddle, please report back to the United States. Report back to New Jersey.
Professor Biddle, please report to Camden County. You're going to jail.
Camden.
Very
Is Atlantic
honest.
City in Camden County? I think so,
Atlantic,
right?
no, Atlantic is in Atlantic County, but there's
Oh,
a Camden
God.
County Court. Camden County Court. That's
Oh, Professor Biddle. I like how we've just made up that he's a professor.
Yeah.
This is
He's fucking-
nowhere
give
in
him
the
a
story is
role.
this. We're just giving this man a hypothetical backstory.
He's got one kid and he's recently divorced, which is why he robbed the bank.
Do you think it was like a Walter White? No, it wasn't a Walter White type thing. We said it was a midlife crisis, right?
Yeah, it was just a midlife crisis. He was
This
bored.
was for fun.
Yeah.
Because he already owned a boat.
Yeah.
He saw a
Okay.
how-to video on YouTube and decided to actually do it.
No. This is what happened. He was playing GTA 4 and said, "All right, word." So this how they robbed the bank. Word, let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah. He's like, I saw my kid playing Grand Theft Auto 5 doing the heist. I bet I could do that.
I got inspired. I said, challenge accepted.
Right. Also, shout out to everybody who lost track of this man after he robbed a bank. That's impressive. You lost a
For
human
real.
being. He took your money and left.
He was like, peace.
Good
and just
work.
disappeared.
Excellent work, team.
Also, a full 2-day search for him. That's rough.
You lost a human. You lost Professor Biddle. Those kids will never forgive you.
No, I love Professor Biddle.
But here's the thing though. They don't have any English homework though. They have no essays to write.
You're right.
So
No, I mean they got the
it-
substitute teacher.
The substitute teacher doesn't care.
the
No, I
substitute-
hope Professor Biddle comes back to class. He's just like, I got the report from the substitute teacher, guys, and I cannot believe you acted so terribly during
Professor
my
Biddle's not
absence."
coming back. Professor Biddle's going
Professor
to
Biddle's
jail.
coming back with a vengeance. I'm telling you, he's coming. His comeback.
No, he turned himself in. He's going to prison.
He
Professor
deserves a
Biddle,
second chance.
You're gonna get like, remember Ned's Declassified? Y'all watch Ned's Declassified School Survival
Yeah, who
Guide?
didn't watch this class? Who didn't?
Classic.
Losers. That's who didn't.
Whoa.
But
Professor Biddle.
it's, you remember that woman that was the professor that was just on the TV?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how Professor Biddle's gonna come back from jail.
See, it's got to happen now.
And that's gonna be the closure of Professor Biddle's story arc. Like, you know, is just gonna be like teaching from a prison cell in like, you know, the orange jumpsuit, and he's just and the students just like just
All right,
watching him on
class.
TV.
So today we're talking about Shakespeare. Turn your books to page 25.
Billy, I see you cheating.
God, Professor Biddle, you're so
Wheel me
good.
over closer. I need to yell at Billy.
Actually, can there just Zoom at that point? Because 2021.
Yeah, it will be on Zoom. It would be a Zoom. It would be a Zoom with a teacher who was in prison. Anybody who asks him about why he's in prison gets detention.
We're making some great movie plot lines
This is
here.
a
guys.
fictional character. We need to point out none of this is in the story.
None of this is in the story at all.
All we know is this guy robbed a bank, left on a boat, and then turned himself in. That's what's in the story. The rest
Yep.
of this is just a background we've made up for this man.